everybody. How you doing today? I hope everybody's having a great day. Woke up this morning, got outside a little bit. Maybe you're doing school. Who knows what you're doing? What are you doing? Oh, I was just looking at the fan. I know I turned it on a little bit so we'd have a little breeze out here today. Yeah, that was really cool. Do you like fans? Well, no, not really. Well, you're looking at it an awful long time. Yeah, I know. So what have you been doing today? Well, you won't even believe it. I've already had a really busy day. You have? Yeah. I did a Zoom with Mrs. Wallace's class. You got on with Mrs. Wallace's class and did a Zoom? Yeah. It was super fun. All the kids were there, and everybody was, well, actually it was a little bit crazy because, hi, Mrs. Wallace's class. Were they talking? Yeah, it was super fun because out here you can't talk back, but on a Zoom, you could talk with the kids. They were telling me everything. They said that one little girl got a llama. A real llama? No. Nobody can have a real llama. Well, some people do. Well, she got a toy one. Her mom got it for her at Target. That was super fun. And I told them I had a goldfish, and then about 10 kids said their goldfish died. My goldfish died. My goldfish died. That was not very inspirational. Well, hopefully Goldie will just be fine. You have to keep cleaning her water. I do. Sprinkle only a little bit of food. Don't give her too much. Yeah. Well, maybe I do give her too much. Oh, now I'm going to be worried. Well, I don't think you have to be worried. You just have to be sure that you, just give her a tiny sprinkle. I'm going to watch her every day. That was kind of scary that many kids said their goldfish died. Man. My mom doesn't really let me have another pet. Here, your tennis shoe's stuck. Oh, thank you. Well, we had a fish for Tyler. What happened to it? Well, did it die? It did. I'm so sorry. Your goldfish died too? Ah! Now it's just a waiting game. Waiting for Goldie to... No, you're not waiting for Goldie to die. I shouldn't have even brought that up. That's a terrible story to tell me. Right when I was telling you that all the kids' goldfish died. Now you're going to bring up that your goldfish died. Ugh, this day is turning into a terrible day. A terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. Have you read that book? Yes, I've read that book. Don't let's not think about goldfish. Whew, wipe it out of your brain. Okay. Wow, shake it off. Okay, that's good. What else have you been doing? Let's get off the Zoom, although that must have been very fun to see Mrs. Wallace's kids. Yeah, I even got to see Miss Pearl. She was on there too. Miss Wallace said hi to me. It was super fun. I bet it was super fun. I have gotten to talk to Mrs. Wallace too. I've done a Zoom with Mrs. Martinez and Mrs. Wallace and Mrs. Corrales, Mr. McGoldrick, Miss Pearl, Miss Teresa. It was super fun. Yeah, I've also been riding my bike. My mom lets me go all the way around the circle. We're in a cul-de-sac, so there's not a lot of cars. And I get to ride by myself all around the cul-de-sac. Usually I would ride with Toady, but you know how it is. We just have to talk across the street. Toady, you want to ride a bike? We can't. But sometime we might ride with he could ride behind me. That might be fun. Yeah, that could be fun. This is kind of hard with all this. Staying at home, can't play with your friends, can't be anywhere, can't do anything. I'm getting a little bit tired of it. Well, I think everybody's getting a little bit tired of it, but it's what we have to do to be safe and to keep healthy, and we just have to look at the bright side of things and look at the things we can do that if we were in school, we wouldn't be able to do. Yeah, you're totally right, Mrs. Colby. I'm just kind of being a doubter after all the goldfish stuff and everything. Ugh. Well, you got to chip her up. The day is long, there's lots to do, and we are not going to worry about your goldfish because you take such good care of her. She is going to be around for a really long time. I don't think you have to worry. I would tell you if I thought you did. Well, thanks. That makes me feel a little bit better. Ugh. Well, I think I have to go because I'm going to be, yelling at my friend across the street. That's all we can do now when we want to talk. But we were talking about Pokemon cards yesterday, and he has some too. When we get out of this, we're going to trade again. We love to trade. You trade Pokemon cards? You're going to have to bring them in sometime and tell me a little more about them. Tyler used to do that, but I don't really know a lot about them. Didn't you pay attention? Would he have them? I don't think I paid enough attention. But he did have a big binder full of them. Oh, man. What did he do with it? I don't know, but I don't think we have it anymore. That would have been fun to give to you. I would have given it to you. Yeah, that would be super fun. All right. Well, I'm going to go for today. It's been so busy already. I've pooped. Well, you can go and do whatever you're going to do today. For sure, I'm going to go clean my goldfish bowl right away. Well, yeah, you better do that. And I want to keep hearing about Goldie, and she's going to live a long and wonderful life. Yeah. Thanks, Mrs. Colby. All right. Well, thanks for coming in today. I love coming in. I'll come anytime you want. Keeps me from being bored at my house all the time. All right. Well, we'll see you later. And we're going to read a book called Agatha's Feather Bed. Oh, yeah, that sounds like a good one. I've never read that one before. Well, we're going to be reading it today. Okay. Well, bye, guys. Good to see you. See you later. Bye. Here, I'm going to set you right over here on that little chair. And then you can head out the front door. Bye, Toby. We'll see him later. Oh, poor guy. That's terrible about his goldfish. But sometimes that happens with goldfish. But not his. All right, we're going to read a story called Agatha's Feather Bed. And it says, not just another wild goose chase. I love this story. Somebody gave it to me. And it's just such a funny, odd kind of thing to think about. So it's really good. Story by Carmen Dede, and the pictures by Laura Seeley. And we can hear my dog Dexter in the background. He must see something out the window. Oh boy, that's got him excited. Dexter, what is he barking at? We'll ignore him. Agatha's Feather Bed. Do you see that little shop sandwiched between two skyscrapers? The shop belongs to my friend Agatha. She spins yarn and weaves cloth, which she sells. The patterns that she weaves are so amazing, and the colors are so beautiful that people come from all over Manhattan to buy her wares. And this is in New York City, and you can see her tiny little place tucked in between two big buildings. A cute little yarn store. It says Agatha's. Agatha loves to talk, and she loves to tell wonderful stories. In fact, you could say Agatha can spin a yarn better than anyone I know. And spin a yarn is a saying that really means tell a story. She can spin a yarn. It's an old, old saying. Here's one that she told me the other day, and I know it must be true because even Agatha couldn't have made this up. One afternoon, a little boy was shopping with his mother in Agatha's fabric shop. He was very bored, and he began playing with a shiny scrap of red cloth. Agatha leaned down and said to him, "That's silk. Do you know where it comes from?" He shook his head. "It comes from worms," said Agatha. "Worms?" he exclaimed. "Why, yes, silkworms," said Agatha. "Wow, what kind of worm does this come from?" he asked, holding up a ball of purple cotton yarn. "That's a very good question," Agatha replied. "That's cotton, and it doesn't come from a worm at all. It comes from a cotton ball that grows right out of the ground." And that is true. "What about the rest of this stuff?" said the boy. "Does it come from neat places too?" "Oh, yes. This is wool, and it comes from sheep. That's easy." "You're right," she said. "Now this cloth is linen. Feel how stiff it is. I bet you can't guess where it comes from." The boy thought, and finally he asked, "Well, where does it come from?" "A plant called flax," answered Agatha. "Let me tell you something I tell all my customers, especially children. Everything comes from something. Nothing comes from nothing. Just like paper comes from trees and glass comes from sand. An answer comes from a question. All you have to do is ask." It made the little boy smile. The reason I wasn't showing you the pictures because there really wasn't one. Just a couple little Agathas on there. Well, that evening, after everyone had gone home, Agatha went upstairs to her apartment. Several months earlier, she had ordered a new feather bed from her favorite catalog, B.B. Lean. It had just arrived that very day. Her old mattress was so lumpy and bumpy, it was like sleeping on coal lumps and cherry pits. Quickly, she changed into her nightgown, brushed and flossed her teeth. She took out her tortoiseshell pins of her long white hair, and it fell and fell and fell until it lay in swirls around her feet. There she is, and look how long her hair is when she takes it out of her little bun. Well, then she brushed it with her boar bristle brush. She never even finished her 100 strokes. She was so eager to try out her mattress. She settled into bed, and in minutes she was fast asleep. Feather beds are known for being very soft and very cushy. What do you think a feather bed could be made out of? Agatha dreamed that her room was filled with strange sounds, hushed whispers and the pitter-patter of little feet. Suddenly, she woke with a start. She heard her window close with a thud. She turned slowly in bed, and she saw that standing across her windowsill were... ... holding you in suspense. Six naked geese. And look at them right there. All their feathers are gone. They were shivering in the cold and covered with goosebumps. She caught them just as they ducked out. Agatha stared and stared. You could have knocked her over with a feather. At last, she opened up the window and said, "May I help you?" The smaller goose, Sydney, stepped into the room. He pointed his little pink wing at Agatha's bed and said, "We want our feathers back." "What?" said Agatha. "Feathers, Agatha, feathers. You know, we've been listening. Everything comes from something. Nothing comes from nothing. Just like paper comes from trees and glass comes from sand. The feathers in a feather bed don't grow on trees, my dear," he said. "Well, where did you think the feathers in a bed come from?" asked the little goose. Agatha looked at the bed. She looked at the geese. She looked over at the bed. She looked at the geese. Something in her sensed that her goose was cooked. "I have to tell you, we mean business, Agatha," said Sydney. "I wouldn't mess with a gaggle of angry, naked geese. We're not just a bunch of quacks, you know. This could get ugly." But Agatha had already made up her mind. She had worked so hard to earn money to buy her feather bed. And yet, she thought, what about those little plucky little guys out there in the cold? "I'll tell you what," said Agatha, a little down in the mouth. "Get back to me in 3 days. Trust me." She gave him a credit card so they could book up at the downtown motel. Taking this as a sign of goodwill, they left quietly. Naturally, she'd sent them all on a wild goose chase. Then she didn't waste 1 minute. She went downstairs to her sewing room, snatched her scissors, and got to work. For 3 days, she didn't open her shop or speak to anyone. There's Agatha. Oops. Turn. Well, on the third night, just as they'd agreed, the geese came tapping on her window. This time Agatha was expecting them. She had left the window open, and she smiled to herself as they popped in one by one. "We're back, Agatha," said Sydney. "We had a great time with that credit card. They kept wanting to give us a bill, but we just said, 'No thanks, the last thing we need is another bill.' And then..." But he never finished his sentence. As he looked across the room, he saw hanging on her wall were... ... another suspense page. 6 white fleecy coats. Agatha had spun and woven and sewn each one. Look at these beautiful coats she made for them. The geese were extremely grateful. They thanked her kindly. Each goose slipped into his new coat and took a gander in the mirror. As they were about to leave, Sydney turned to Agatha and said, "You know, Agatha, these are really magnificent coats. Whatever did you make them from?" Agatha sat up in her bed, and the geese saw that their coats were made from Agatha's hair. And look at Agatha. That long, beautiful hair. Everything comes from something. I have your feathers, you have my hair. What's good for the goose is good for the gander, eh, Sydney? "Oh, Agatha," said one of the geese, "you just keep us in stitches." "And by the way, Agatha," said Sydney, chuckling, "your hair looks just ducky. And lucky for you and me, hair grows back just like our feathers." Well, Agatha says she never heard another honk from her fine feathered friends. However, someone's been leaving fresh goose eggs on her step every morning. Where do goose eggs come from anyway? And that's a great saying. Everything comes from something. Nothing comes from nothing. Hope you enjoyed one of my favorite books, Agatha's Feather Bed. She was so sweet to help make up. She didn't want to give up her feather bed because it was so cozy and cushy. So she did another thing and gave up something that was valuable to her so they could have little coats to cover their little goosebumps until they could grow their feathers back. So thanks for joining in and coming to have a story and meeting with Toby. We won't talk about goldfish anymore. Hope you have a great day. And if you do have goldfish, wash their bowls, give them just a little bit of food. Everybody will be great. All right, guys, have a great day. See you tomorrow.